This is our lesson number 8 today, and in this lesson we are going to talk about adjectives. So let's start. In this lesson we will look at what adjectives are, what are their different forms, and how we use them and how we spot them in a text. So first of all, adjective is a quality showing word, or it describes a noun or a pronoun. For example, brave, beautiful, and intelligent. Now these are three adjectives. As you can see from the definition, that adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. So describes means, it doesn't mean that only that it tells how it looks like. It gives us more information about a noun or a pronoun. Okay, now for example, if I say he is a brave man, now the word brave here, let me choose pencil. The word brave here tells us about this person, man. Now just consider that you don't have brave, so he is a man. So for example, we are writing a sentence without any adjective. So he is a man. Now my question to you is, does that sentence tell you anything about this man? I mean, what kind of person he is? Is he a brave man? Is he a cowardly man? Is he a miserly man? We don't know anything. But when we add an adjective, it describes or tells us more about that person or a noun or a thing. So he is a brave man. The word brave tells us about the quality that this man has. So for example, if I ask you a question, who is brave in this sentence, you would say man. So that proves the point that an adjective always describes a noun or a pronoun. So let's look at the next sentence. The word beautiful is an adjective, and the sentence is, she is a beautiful girl. Now without beautiful, we wouldn't know what kind of girl she is. She is a girl, for example. We don't know whether she's beautiful, whether she's not beautiful, whether she's handsome, tall, short, no. But the word beautiful tells us about this girl, which means that this is an adjective, because the word beautiful tells us more about the girl. Now without beautiful, you wouldn't know what kind of girl she is. With beautiful, if I ask you a question, who is beautiful in this sentence? Okay, so you would say girl. Yeah, so this is how you can tell sometimes which word is a noun and which word is an adjective, because these two are very closely linked. The word beautiful and the girl means the adjective and the noun, because adjective always describes a noun or a pronoun. They can be together and they can be far from each other in a sentence. We will talk to that about that later. The next word is intelligent. He is an intelligent person. Now the word intelligent tells us about the quality or about the specific detail about this person. He is intelligent. He is not dull. If it is a dull person, we would say he's a dull person, and then dull would be an adjective. Okay, so to make the long story short is that an adjective describes a noun or a pronoun or tells us more about it, and we are more informed if we have an adjective next to a noun about that person or a thing or a place. An adjective has 3 degrees. Now, as you understand that we talked about in our previous videos when we were learning about the verb. A verb has 4 forms. An adjective has 3 degrees. The first one is positive, for example, hard. The second one is comparative, which is harder, and the third one is superlative, which is hardest. Okay, so why do we have 3 degrees? Because sometimes we try to compare things. Sometimes we don't compare things. For example, if we say he's a brave man, if we go back to this sentence, okay, so we are not comparing this man with any other person. But when we compare this person with another person, let's say person A and person B, now this is a brave man, this is a brave man, but obviously one of them would be braver. Okay, one of them has this quality more than the other, so that's the time when we use comparative. Okay, so comparative degree is used to compare two things. Okay, so you remember that. Positive, when we don't compare anybody with anything or anyone, so we just say this person is this person is that, we just tell the quality that they have. Comparative is when we compare that quality with somebody else, so this is the comparison between two things or two people. And the superlative is the comparison with everybody, okay, or with everything. Okay, so for example, he is the bravest of all means, let's say there are 15 people, he is the bravest, he is the most brave person. I mean, obviously the most brave is incorrect, but I'm just trying to emphasize that that tells us that he is the bravest of all. Okay, right, different kinds of adjectives now we will look at. Adjectives can be used before or after a noun. This divides adjectives into two major categories. Now, normally we learn in schools that adjectives come before a noun because they describe a noun, but sometimes adjectives can come after the noun. Okay, so if the adjectives come before a noun, this is an attributive adjective, which are used before a noun. For example, the blue sea. Now here, if you look at the word blue, that describes sea, and sea is a noun. Okay, so blue sea, blue comes before sea, so the word blue is not only adjective, it is an attributive adjective. The other one is predicative adjective. Okay, so these are the ones which are used after nouns. So for example, the sea is blue. Now you would be thinking why this adjective is here, and I mean, we don't worry about where the adjective is. We ask ourselves a question: what thing is blue in this sentence? And the answer would be sea, which means the word still describes the sea, whether it is used before or after. Okay, so for example, if I ask you a question here, what is blue in this sentence, and your answer would be the sea. Okay, and if I say the sea is blue, well, so if I ask you what is blue here, and then you would say the sea, so it means that although blue is written in different situations, in different positions here, so but they still describe the sea, so that's why it is still an adjective. So this is how we use adjectives. So adjective does not always come before a noun, it can come after a noun as well. There's another thing which is called adjective equivalent. Now what is that? A word which is not an adjective but functions as an adjective is called adjective equivalent, which means that it is equal to an adjective but it is not an adjective. For example, garden chair. Okay, for example, backbenchers. Okay, now if you look at, if you only say chair, we don't know which chair is that, whether it's a wooden chair, whether it's the dining chair, whether it's the armchair. No, we have no idea. But if we say it's a garden chair, so we know which chair it is. Backbenchers. Okay, in the same way, the word back tells us where they sit. Okay, benches. Now if you only say these are benches, it means they sit on benches. Well, where do they sit? Okay, do they sit in front, do they sit in the middle, do they sit at the back? So backbenchers tells us that these are the people who sit at the back of a room or place or house or whatever. Yeah, so backbenchers in this back and in this garden, that tells us more about the nouns. So that's why these act like adjectives, because they describe nouns. Yeah, you could see that they are describing nouns, but they don't have positive, comparative or superlative degrees. So adjective equivalent would be a word that acts like or behaves like an adjective, but it is not an adjective in its true sense, and it would not have degrees of comparison. if that makes sense. An adjective equivalent has no degree of comparison as the real adjectives has. For example, hard, harder, hardest. Well, we don't have garden, gardener, gardenist. No, because this is not an adjective. This is not a real adjective. So this is the difference. Okay, so sometimes you would see words which describe noun, but they still have no degree, so they are also known as adjectives. Now, there are some adjectives which are incomparable. Okay, so when we talk about the quality, either it's a good one or a bad one. It could be too much in somebody or something, and it could be not too much in somebody or something. So in that sense, we have kind of flexibility in comparing things. For example, somebody is very, very hardworking, and the other person is hardworking but not that much. So they have different levels of, you could say, this potential. Although adjectives have 3 degrees of comparison, yet there are some adjectives that cannot be compared. Hence, they have no degrees of comparison, but they are still real adjectives. Because, I mean, if you look at these words, you could understand what I'm talking about. For example, absolute, or for example, fatal. For example, okay, the best example is full. So when you look at this slide, you can stop and you can look at these words. Maybe you can write them down, you can make a note of it, or whatever you want to do. But these are the words that cannot be compared. We cannot have degrees. Why? For example, the word full. Now, if a glass is, or a cup is full, it is full. You cannot say it is more full, it is less full. Now, if it is less full, it means it's not full. Okay, so for example, there is another word, is that dead. Now, dead is also a very good word to understand, because you cannot say, oh, he is somewhat dead, or she is almost dead. Now, there is no almost dead, or there is no somewhat dead. Either it is dead or not dead. It's just like being pregnant. Either you are pregnant or you're not pregnant. You cannot say I'm almost pregnant or I'm 50% pregnant. No. So these are the words that cannot be compared. That's why they don't have degrees. They are known as incomparable adjectives. I hope you understand that. Okay, now that is all. Okay, there's not too much in this. Now I am giving you an exercise to practice your adjectives and to know how to find them. So what your target is, when you come to this slide, okay, stop the video, read this text, read the whole text, and try to find as many adjectives as you can. Now, I have chosen this text on purpose because it has got some difficult words as well. So I want you to improve your vocabulary as well, because the more vocabulary you have, the better words you have, the better writer you can become, and it would be easier for you to understand the purpose or the meaning of the text. So use the dictionary. Don't use the dictionary to see whether the word is an adjective or not. First, what you could do is first try to find as many adjectives as you can, underline them, write them in your notebooks, and then tell me in comments how many adjectives you have found. Okay, and then go back and look at the meanings as well. That would really help you. Okay, so that's the end of today's lesson. Thank you very much for listening, and I wish you all the best. See you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.